All right, good afternoon, folks. This is the last panel of the day. My name is Detravius Bethea. I'm the Howard University School of Law, class of '08, section 2. I am the founder of the Bethea Law Firm. I'm a New York-based law firm. We do intellectual property. We do some employment discrimination, and we do personal injury here and there. But we try to narrow it down to intellectual property, employment discrimination, and business affairs. I am being a bad host. I do not have my panelists' bios in front of me, so I'm going to have them introduce themselves. And we can start with my sweet brother Noomsay, Charlie Bingham, right here.
Charlie Bingham, Associate General Counsel at Horizon3.ai. They are a startup that does automated pen testing. And I'll leave it there. We'll get it.
Okay. Good to see everyone. I'm Andrea Evans. I own the law firm of Andrea Hintz Evans, a full-service intellectual property law firm. We provide patent, trademark, and copyright services. I'm excited. This is year 19 of me owning my firm. And before that, I worked at the USPTO as a patent examiner and a trademark examining attorney. So I'm excited to talk to you all about my career as a lawyer, but I'm also a best-selling author, expert witness, and I'm also on TV as a patent attorney. So thanks for having me.
Good afternoon, everyone. Chika Duru, class of '07, section 3. I am senior counsel at Hopscotch. Yeah, section 3. I am senior counsel at Hopscotch Primary Care, which is a value-based care healthcare provider that operates largely in North Carolina. And I'm here because I love the university, and Bingham, when he calls, I'm honored to come and participate. So it's great to be with everyone.
Yeah, much like Chika said, I'm here for Charlie. My name is Nick Austin, and I'm a senior counsel at Microsoft Corporation. And I do a lot of different things, from working with our AI cloud technology deals to working with our defense contractor deals, working with government deals. And good to be here and spread some knowledge.
All right, so we're going to just hop right into it. So we're going to be more conversational style. Like, we do have questions, but whatever, y'all say anything interesting, I might ask you to build on that and elaborate on it. But we're going to start with the opening question. What does paying it forward mean to you? Anybody can start.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, this is my question. Yeah. Paying it forward means ensuring that when you have the opportunity to advise the next generation or people coming after you, or to help them in any type of way, that you capitalize on that opportunity and do it. Keep it simple.
Yes, I agree with that, and it's what you all know, right? Lifting as you climb and helping others. So when you get to that point where you feel that you've achieved whatever your definition of success is using your skills and expertise to pay it forward to the next person by giving back and teaching them. But I do want to say, for the students in here, when you hear someone say that it's mentoring and things like that, that you have to do your part and be prepared with the right questions. And what I mean by that is, when you are here on a panel with someone from Microsoft or a company, you shouldn't be asking questions like, where do you work and what do you do? You want to do your research and due diligence before you get there, so that you're not feeling like you're wasting their time. So I want to give that tip as we talk about paying it forward.
Yeah, I'll build on what has been said. I think for me, and I think someone at this university said it some years ago, paying it forward to me means, all of us, whatever success we've achieved, at some point in your career, somebody, anyone who says differently, I think, is just being dishonest. Somebody gave you an opportunity that maybe your experience or your resume didn't fit that opportunity. Someone did along the way. And so to me, in addition to what has been shared already, I think paying it forward is pouring into people and giving that person an opportunity when maybe their resume or background doesn't fit the role that you have or that they're seeking, because at some point in your career someone gave you that opportunity to help lift you to where you are today. So I think that's how I would define paying it forward.
Yeah, no, I think all the other panelists have hit the nail on the head, but what I'll add to that is, you don't have to wait till you make your first million to pay it forward. You don't have to wait until you get that fancy job with the title in the corner office to pay it forward. You can pay it forward now at any level you're at. If you're a student and you hear about an internship program, tell your friends. If you got a great study guide, for a class, contracts, or torts, share it with your friends. Pay it forward is not a tomorrow thing, it's a today thing. It's a right now thing. So you've got to get in the habit, in the mindset of continuing to add value at every stage of your career. Pay it forward today and pay it forward tomorrow.
That's a great point. I think we get into the scarcity mindset. And I think what you're saying, like even like when I was in law school, I know like there was secret outlines and everything that nobody was sharing. And I get it now, but at the time, like that's corny. Why would you sharing it? But it's the competition thing aspect. So I don't know if that's gonna work here. I hope it's not working here. I hope it does work here. But I like that. It's getting beyond the scarcity mindset. Just based on what y'all just stated, if someone was reaching out to you to be for mentorship, how should they approach you? Beyond what you just said, Andrea.
Well, for me, I get a lot of those calls. Probably one a day with someone saying, I either want to be a lawyer, how did you start a law firm? And I don't mind taking those calls, but because I do own a law firm, if I'm taking the time to talk to you, then I'm probably not making any money, but I do have a team, so that does help. But it's time, right? And we can't get our time back. Our time is very valuable. And so what I expect you to do is ask me questions that you can't find the answers to on the internet. And I think that's the key, because if you ask me what college did you go to or what year did you start your law firm, to me that's a waste of both of our time, because you could have just read that in the bio. And then I want you to have specific, actionable questions. I see that you worked at the USPTO. I want to work there. Or I've done my research. I'm applying to Microsoft. I see you're connected with Nick. Like things that could go beyond just tell me about yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'd say, obviously, I think this probably goes without saying, but to be substantively sound and competent before you approach someone for mentorship, right? So be good at what you, in your space, know whatever area of the law that is. I'm speaking, of course, in this room to law students, because it makes it easier when you approach someone for them to pour into you, to refer you, to work with you if you are yourself, if you know your stuff. So I think before you approach, just be good, be substantively knowledgeable about the area of law in particular that you want to focus on. And I think when you approach, much like Andrea just said, like come with questions that not only are not you can't find just on the internet, but questions that will indicate to the person that you're speaking to that you've really thought through what you want to do. You have questions and answers to which will take you a step further in your goal. And I think if you do those things, if you're prepared on paper and you are inquisitive in a way that really indicates true intent and desire, I think that anyone, especially if someone who believes in paying it forward, would be thrilled to take you on, mentor. And quite honestly, for a lot of mentors, like we don't talk about this, but you gain something from that. There is value, and you feel good when you're able to help someone take that next step. So the mentors themselves derive some value from the mentor-mentee relationship.
Yeah, I think building on it, I think Chica really unlocked something that I want to touch on, where you gain something. People love people that add value, whether it's your family, whether it's your friends, whether it's your boss, whether it's mentor-mentee relationships. Find a way to add value. If you're talking to your mentor and maybe they're not as technically savvy as you are, share Calendly or a detail that might help them be better in what they do, right? If your mentor, I don't know, they love restaurants. Hey, it's DC Restaurant Week. I just wanted to send you these tips about these restaurants because I know you like restaurant. Not just in your mentor-mentee relationships, but in all of your relationships and interpersonal dealings, find a way to add value, and you will always be thought of, and you will always be in the room.
You got something?
I'll touch on something Nick said earlier, and it was about you can. I'm Unc, so I'm getting there. It was you can add value now, or you can pay
into
it
today
forward
instead of
now.
Yeah.
And I wasn't that wise, but I haphazardly did some things because that's just who I am, and it's in me. But a lot of times I can tap people now just from sharing, as you said, a patent law. I'm thinking of one particular person from New York who will never forget me because he was drowning, and I shared a super duper outline with him from my girlfriend at the time, secretly with him because I just had compassion. And that was the only class he amjured while in law school. And so I can tap this person and give a call at any time, but just doing good things. I wanted to echo and make sure that we slowed down and zoomed in on Nick's point of you don't have to wait to pay it forward. And as you continue to plant those seeds of just doing good deeds and grace and mercy, it's gonna come back to you eventually. Now, your question of this one, remind me again.
What advice would you have for someone that's approaching you to be a mentor to them?
Be authentic, because I will kind of, I've lived some lives. I can kind of sniff out when it's not authentic, and maybe for those who have been attending for a while, maybe about 4 years ago, one of my mentors, Vita Richardson, she was the executive director of the ACC. She was our keynote speaker. And one of the things she talked about was learning how to say no, because our time is very important. And I get those requests all the time. Ironically, non-minorities are really aggressive about using LinkedIn, have no connections, but will reach out to you for a job, while I'll find out later from somebody in my network, oh yeah, I applied. I'm like, why didn't you reach out to me? You know I'm connected. Well, okay, whatever. But the other side is very aggressive. I think when Vita, one of the things that she mentioned was, how do we decipher who we're going to mentor and who we're not? At some point, it's just so many requests that it becomes overwhelming and you can lose time. So one of the ways that she talked about was, you just immediately flip it around and say, well, okay, you want me to be your mentor. Tell me, how are you helping people right now? How are you paying it forward? And if that person was unable to ask, or the answer just didn't seem authentic, don't use ChatGPT, because we can sniff it through. We probably use it more than some of y'all. Then it was like, well, I don't mind just saying I'm busy right now, because there's some people are just takers in this world and social climbers, and you can pour into them, but it'll stay right there with them. You want to pour into people that are going to turn around and pour into others. So my answer, short answer is, I've been trying to be short. Y'all got my bio and all of that.
That was a short.
That wasn't short. Tell me, keep me on. Is see what it is that they do for others, and just come and be authentic when you're, at least for me, when you're approaching me. Tell me the truth. What is it you want? How can I be of assistance to you?
But you know, Charlie, I feel like that's the HBCU way. Even if I went to Spelman, and looking back, you know, you start networking. It's like almost everybody has the same kind of mindset at a HBCU. You're at a HBCU law school, so it's just in your heart to give back. And he's right, you know, you do have to pick and choose when you say yes and no. And for me, you know, you may call, and sometimes I will say no, and I'll say, you know, for this entire month, I'm completely booked. But if you reach back out in April, you know, I'll follow up, and I'm actually shocked that somebody will put on the calendar, hey, I have, and now you can use AI, you can schedule emails, you know, I don't know if that's what they're doing, but hey, it's April 1st, you said on March whatever to follow up. And, you know, it pushes me to say, you know, I better make a little bit of time for this person. But I think that this group, we don't have that problem with you all paying it forward. I know everybody has at least talked to somebody in high school or middle school to tell them about law school. I hope you have, if you haven't, because it doesn't even have to be helping your peers. I think more about helping the next generation.
All right, so I'm going to, this question is going to be aimed for Charlie, but it's going to be for the whole panel, obviously. How do you handle business partnerships?
Business partnerships.
Since we were business, well, we still are.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
This may be personal.
Like you ain't paid a registered agent, brother. Business partnerships is like marriage, and I learned this coming out of law school. I'm gonna tell y'all a story. It's gonna sound like something fantastical, but I think we got a member from our class who was at the graduation when I announced this. Coming out of law school, me and Howard Chang we had a great idea. It's funny how it came to us, but basically I graduated in 2008. We had spec'd out, designed, and went around and talked to all kind of inventors and engineers and professors, and we're trying to get them to do the meta glasses right now. Back in 2008, we were dumb. We were using Gmail, and we thought, because we put a new disclaimer in our signature that we would be protected. But long story short, we learned through that venture, one, you really got to believe in yourself, and access to capital is very hard to get for African Americans. The more educated that people get, the more closed-minded they get, and they just couldn't see it. In 2008, we sounded like we were crazy, but we knew that they had the components out there, and so we went to Howard main campus with engineering. Business is like a marriage. It takes faith. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you wake up and you don't like that person, but you gotta love them anyway. Same thing with business. Sometimes you're gonna feel like your partner is not pulling their weight, they're not doing enough. Sometimes you feel like you need to do it on your own, but if you are one of those people who do it on your own, somebody said it earlier, you need a team. Mm-hmm. You need somebody who's going to prop you up. Unless you've tried to do it on your own, you don't understand the amount of faith and work that it takes. So when you ask me about business is a marriage. That's what I've learned. And sometimes business could be like side pieces. You got your podcast with your homie, which is just, when they feel like it, we gonna get together and we gonna do it. And then you got your ones that produce your income. So
That's good.
I scattered enough, but to leave you provocative.
Well, I'll just say from, owning a law firm kind of perspective, when you are here in law school, probably one of the most valuable lessons to me that I learned, I went to GW Law School just down the street. But it was business, right? And how you form a business. And just because you have a good idea doesn't mean that person has to be your business partner. You don't have to form a business together, to have success. I'd say tread lightly there. And probably, one of the best things the best advice they gave me was to hire slow and fire fast. And, you have to think about that and and it's true, but everybody's not going to be a good worker bee. People will look at you when you want to do something and invest in yourself. Like when I launched my law firm, it wasn't because I was fired. It wasn't because I couldn't get a job. It was because I had referred 6 figures of business to one of my mentors. And I wasn't making 6 figures working in the government. So when he approached me and said, it's not that I'm not grateful for your support and for you pushing people saying, oh, just call this person. And I said, okay, well, let me come and work at your firm. Well, he wasn't the owner of the firm, but when I met with the owner said, okay, if you can do what you're saying you could do, which I had done it, I said, well, imagine if I tried, like if I put myself out there. This is just people knowing me for patent law. You know, I had gone to school for engineering. He said, you can work here for free and use our office space. Whatever money you make, you get to keep. But the firm was about 45 minutes from my house and down the street from the patent office. So I would either miss my daughter, who was 2, wake up in the morning, or miss her going to sleep. So the thing I didn't like about the job was the commute. So when he said that, I said, well, if I'm going to drive back over here and do that, I might as well work for myself. And I literally stepped out on faith, and I thought the worst thing I could do is just get a job, you know. So I want to encourage you all to have that confidence and belief in yourself, because you're capable, like you're smart, you know, and you have to believe that. So nobody can tell me that I'm not smart. You know, that's what I heard every day of my life. You know, you're smart, you can do it. And I believe it, you know. So when somebody does challenge it, I'm prepared to say, no, but I'm smart, you know, I can do it. And I think that's half the battle. So with a partnership and with any business, you know, the biggest lesson that I could tell you all is to say no, you know, and don't be afraid to say no, because it can be overwhelming. And, you know, I have this reputation that people will say, if only I could say no as fast as Andrea. And I say, no, thank you. You know, I don't even say why, you know, like, and it doesn't matter because I prioritize my time. So I just think that, you know, it's good to invest in yourself and believe in yourself, but you know, I have the model at my firm of contractors, you know, so it's been a very successful venture, from individuals to Fortune 50 corporation global clients. And that's why I'm a testament, you know, to tell you all, when you have the confidence and believe in yourself, that's half the battle. Then you have to have the skill set to get the work done, obviously. So once somebody gives you that chance and tells you that yes, you know, seal the deal after that. So think, you know, you don't always have to have a business partner or a marriage, like you said, because it's hard to get out of it, you know, if something does happen.
Hire slow and fire fast.
Yeah, I think that's, Andrea, I mean, I think that's spot on. I think for me, like all of us, and the older you get, the more colleagues, friends, family will approach you about starting a business together. It'll happen to all of you.
Mm-hmm.
I have, like, one of my best friends from high school. I've known the kid since I was like 13 years old. I am convinced.
We old now, bro. You can't call that man a kid.
Well, sorry. We were kids when we met. I'm convinced that he will one day hit something. He's one of these guys that has an idea. Every 6 months is an idea. But he also has, like, astonishingly poor judgment. And so he's always coming to me and saying, let's do business. And sometimes he has good ideas, but I can't go into business with someone who I know has such poor judgment. So I think it's important that you really scrutinize, tread lightly, and you really, really research, even if it is a friend, family member, colleague, like you're thoughtful about who you go into business with. Because it can take years to unwind a business relationship if it goes south. Years, thousands, maybe millions of dollars. And so just be thoughtful about who you go into business with. It's always great to ideate with someone because, you know, 2 minds are better than 1, 3 better than 2. So it's good to have that support and that thought partner or partners, but just be thoughtful about who those people are, because as I said, from now until you just say no, people will approach all of you because you're bright to start a business, start a law firm. Let's start this. You know, Charlie and Howard are doing it in law school. So it'll happen. Just be thoughtful about who you work with. But I will say, if you do find the right partnership, it can be fulfilling, lucrative, and it can really be successful. But so many of these partnerships or opportunities, when they go south, it takes an incredible amount of time and money to unwind them. So just be careful.
And sign a contract.
Yeah.
I mean, because sometimes it's your friend from 13, and we're family.
Yeah.
Oh, you know, we're cousins, we're this. So, you know, what I see every day in my practice is good until it's not. You know, oh, well, he said this, she said that. Where's the contract? So,
It's joint IP. What? Yeah.
so get everything in writing, but, you know, they teach you that in law school, but when you talk about a partnership, you know, you just treat everything like a business. What do you want to say, Nick?
No, I mean, I think you all hit it on the head. The only thing that I would add is always remember yourself, integrity. I don't need to tell you what's on CNN and Fox News these days. I'm not going to get political, but I think integrity is still very important. So no matter who you get into business with or the type of business that you do, always remember your personal integrity. It's your value, it's your brand, it's who you are, and it's honestly what people will remember you for. So never compromise your integrity for anyone or any amount of money or anything.
Yeah, I would just add on that I think Chica and I think you hit on this too. Just make sure you have what's called think about the exit strategy, right? Because if it goes sour, you're gonna be spending money anyway. But if you talk about if it goes sour prior to it going sour, it's a hard conversation because nobody thinks anything is gonna be horrible, right, or go wrong. But if you had that conversation on if it goes wrong, we're gonna do this, that, and the third. You can decrease my fees, your fees, right, and whatever other lawyer fees. If you can have that conversation up front. Lawrence Cosby.
Charlie made a great point about a business being a marriage.
Uh-huh.
You're a prenup.
Prenup.
You're a prenup.
Oh, that again, I'm Unc, so I forgot. But as I was talking, my point kind of went away. But the first one ended in a divorce, and that's where I learned. It wasn't a bitter divorce, but as you said, unraveling that, we had to set up a camera, we had to have mediation, and to make it easy, I just ended up paying the cost. To you know what, I want it all. I believe in it. I'm going to pay this cost. That was a write-off because you can't really go after Google when you didn't understand their terms of service. It's a great story, but you know, the point is to get out can be a lot sometimes. You got a valuation of the business now that you have to do and assets, and so think about that going in. Like, I'm going to be married to you, and it goes to what you want a spouse with some integrity, some character. You don't know spouses outside, so be mindful of who you're doing business with.
All right. We'll be done 4:30.
5 or so.
Wow, okay. All right, since we're at the Tech Law Summit, Nick, this one is, I'm gonna start with you on this one. Explain how tech has influenced your entrepreneurship journey, or how it's impacting or how it's impacting your entrepreneurship journey.
Yeah, I mean, to me, this is the greatest time in the history of mankind to start a business. I couldn't compete with Google. I can't compete with, I don't know, Microsoft if I wanted to start a business 10 years ago, right? Because where am I going to get the staff and the manpower? I don't have the money to do that. The banks aren't going to give me $1 million in capital and credit to build the brick and mortar operation I need to. AI technology says you don't need all of that. Because AI technology can give you your back office accounting you need to run your business. AI technology can give you the salespeople that you need to go out and sell your products. AI technology can help you shore up your supply lines for your business, right? And so many things like marketing, all those core blocks that make up any business in America or around the globe, all of a sudden, I don't need people to run it. I don't need people anymore. The business can just be me. I don't know if you remember Mary Poppins, right? I used to love Mary Poppins growing up. And there was the character named Dick Van Dyke. I don't know if you remember, I'm old, so I remember Dick Van Dyke. And he would have a banjo and a drum and a flute, and he'd be playing all the instruments at once. Shim, shimmy, shim, shim, shiroo, all of that, right? And I always thought that was fascinating as a kid because this one guy, this one-man show is singing, is dancing, is playing the drums. He's doing everything. That's you with AI technology. You're dancing, you're singing, you're playing the drums, you're doing all the roles. You don't need a staff. You don't need a spouse. All you need is yourself and a fundamental understanding.
You don't
I could do bad by myself, right?
Side chick, spouse. I'm glad I'm the woman on this panel. Don't worry, I see the ladies in the audience. I got you.
I know. We need spouses in marriage. Okay,
In real life.
Put that on the record. Strike that from the record.
Right.
But
Live
you
recording.
don't need that big back office operation. You don't need that big staff anymore. If you learn how to leverage AI technology, you can build your business with the technology, make more money, and hopefully be more successful.
I just want to say amen. I know we ain't in order, but to what he's saying, and you've seen examples of this. Anybody in here heard of Zena Monet? Raise your hand if you had. Hi. She's 3 million. It's nothing more than a AI singer that she makes AI videos, created a business, did AI marketing on social media, and then she got like a $3 million record label agreement for an AI person. I agree with Nick. I use it. I'll show you guys some examples later and talk about it. But to Nick's point, if you could think it, you can achieve it. It's just opening up your mind and how big do you want to dream? Because right now, at this stage, I think it's going to change. But whoever can control these computers are going to win. Right now, you control these computers by prompts. But pretty soon, Cosby, you guys may be there. We were talking about quantum AI earlier. Somebody asked a question. You'll be controlling it by your voice. You will be able to tell it what to do. You can only get so much based on your imagination. I use the example. It's like going to Google, and a simpleton might say, give me a size 13 men's shoe. Oh, you'll get a size 13 men's shoe. Somebody who has a little bit more experience, like this brother, might be like, give me a size 13 Christian Louboutin. I don't want it sold in the Americas because I want to be the only one wearing it shoe. And then he's going to get a different selection based on his imagination.
Like Charlie's saying, this is the concept of agentic AI. I literally have an agent. I have a person who is built off that initial prompt and runs with it based on the guardrails of who I am, what I need. So now you have agents running agents. So now you can have a whole almost business operation based on multiple artificial intelligence doing a singular task. And some of those singular tasks can then spin off more agents who are then doing the thing from that initial prompt and that initial organization structure. So now you can become your own CEO of your company. And you're hiring and firing your agents based on your needs. So, that's what you can do. And you're just paying your electric bill and your Wi-Fi. And Claude,
It's a great time to be alive. You need to learn how to use the tools. If I'm Unc, I'm using Nano Banana for images, then I'll throw it in Google VO 3.1 or some of these other ones. I'm making AI micro dramas. But on top of that, my micro dramas are coming with whole soundtracks. It's amazing what that I plan to sell. Like I got 2 albums out there now. Like, not a shameless pitch, but just to let you guys know, you should be taking your time to figure out what can I create with this. I tell my kids all the time, if you want to be free, you're going to have to learn how to be a producer. If you're just a consumer, and that's what technology is basically breeding our kids to be, just watch YouTube, Lulu, whatever these shows is, they're consuming something. Your attention span is worth a lot of money. These ads, the Instagram, Facebook, that's where the algorithm, once we know what holds your attention, we're going to start targeting you with that because we want to hold your attention more. So in the future, I'm like, if you want some freedom, you don't want to have to work for the man like I do, you better be able to produce something of value to the world and be able to sell it. And so you all should be using the tools to figure out, and it's not that hard. I really agree with Nick. It's not that hard. Using tools to figure out what is the trend? What do people want? What they watching? What's laughing? What is my friends talking about? I'm going to go out there and make it. I'm going to make it. And again, I could show y'all after an example, but where Hollywood was taking over, to do a production costs a lot of money. You got to have lighting, you got to have direction, you got to have camera people, all of this stuff. If I could AI this, I would. But with AI, it can't replace you, though. You're irreplaceable.
I want to add to that
Yeah.
because what's unique is that before AI, let's just take it back to social media. So everybody's on TikTok or Instagram or something. So without knowing or without anybody telling me, I just started putting myself out there. I do this, I do that, and I built a big following on social media and was able to be trending on social media. So I want to encourage you all to use AI, but social media, combined together for your personal brand. Because if you look me up on LinkedIn, like every day somebody is messaging me and they're like, you're on fire on social media. Nobody taught me to do it, but I have a mix of personal, here I am, I own a firm, call me, hire my firm. Then I have a mix of trending articles. Snoop Dogg wants to get a trademark for hot dogs, so people are like, okay, I'm learning a little something. Then I may do some facts. Then I may do some, awards, sharing other people's things. Nobody taught me to do it, but I feel compelled to tell you all about it because when people say they don't use social media, they say it's because I don't have time. So maybe you're not going to create a person to sing or your own agent, but I think it's good to go on there and say, I'm a law student interested in IP law. Everybody is calling me about trademark law, which is very difficult to break into. But if I can Google you and see that you have a blog on trademark topics, then that's something you can add to your resume to show your seriousness and involvement in that type of law. So I want to encourage you all to create your personal brands using AI, but just take advantage of social media, schedule it, and get yourself out there, because the first thing people do when you say, I want you to be my mentor or I'm looking for a job, is they Google you. So you can use AI to stand out. Like, I've been very blessed to get referred from 3 different people in 3 different states that didn't even know each other because they're either on a newsletter, somebody said it, or they saw it on social media. So to me, that's a testament of AI and social media being used with no marketing budget. It's 100% free. So definitely take advantage of that. So I hope everybody, right now you can use Canva and have a free website. You don't even have to have it hosted anymore. So you have no excuse.
It'll schedule everything for you. Yeah.
But to have your own website is incredible,
That's the vibe coding. And you send out newsletters.
Yeah,
I'm like, I know that the traders don't write this good. These are awesome.
And the newsletter, that's the best thing you can do. So as I was networking in law school and coming to things like this and collecting cards, I just kept it on a list. This is back before, any of these tools were out. This is Excel. And when I launched my firm, I sent a mass email out, and the clients started rolling in. I'm up to 20,000 on my newsletter. And every time I send it, and people want to be on it. It's incredible because I can go somewhere and somebody will be in a group and say, thank you for posting you were speaking here. I wouldn't have come to this conference today. I'm on your newsletter. And everybody standing will say, can you add me to the newsletter? Yes, I'll add you to the newsletter. Because think about it. You're going to meet somebody here today and forget who they are. Remember, she was on that panel. But when you start getting the emails and you see it on social media, you won't forget me, because I'm everywhere. Well, I just went to Instagram and saw this. And so you all need to be doing that too. Everybody, whether you plan to work for yourself or not, it's your personal brand that you can take advantage of all these AI tools and set yourself apart from others.
Co-sign.
How many people want a HBCU technology and IP law newsletter?
Oh yeah, that would be great.
Oh yeah, you know what? Wisdom I've learned. When someone comes up with a bright idea,
They want to do
you
it.
allow them to implement it. So Cosby's gonna make sure we get this newsletter. He's gonna work with me and Shawana, and we'll all add little pieces in there to make sure that you update it. I like that, Cosby. We on the record. We on the record. Frederick didn't volunteer. You the hustle grad.
Felt like I was voluntold.
Did you want to add something?
Yeah, I work So I'll piggyback on what Nick said. I really do. I'll concede this before I like follow up on Nick. I'm not myself like by nature entrepreneurial. I guess I'm probably what led me to law school. I'm more risk averse, but my path to like growth and sort of the kind of success I think we're all talking about is investing. And so I invest in companies and businesses that are doing exactly what Nick is describing. Like in today's world, I'm not going to put money into an organization that as a part of their business model is not leveraging AI as much as they can. There is no, and social media, there is no way to really scale a business the way you need to without much overhead if you don't leverage AI and social media. So I think the question was, how has AI influenced your entrepreneurial journey? So yeah, so my response is, I myself am not an entrepreneur, but I invest in entrepreneurs, and I only do so if they are leveraging social media and AI in a very meaningful, thoughtful way.
He sounded like AI. He said, in today's world.
Yeah.
Anybody catch that if you use AI?
So this is going to be open up for anybody to jump in for a reason. So we talk about our success and wins and what people should do. I want y'all to tell the people what you shouldn't do as far as it goes to your legal career, investing, your entrepreneurship journey. Like what and give an example if you can. Like absolutely do not do this along your journey with your career in business investment. So anybody can hop in on that.
I think I just
Chica,
say,
he was,
I would just say, I made this mistake early after law school, and I think I recovered from the mistake. But the thinking that like this one job, this one boss, this one group of people, if this doesn't end well, or if I don't impress, or if thinking that doesn't matter, they all do. The bar is, yes, there are tons of lawyers, but the bar in whatever city you're in, whatever region you're in, is small. And so your brand, your reputation, what you accomplish, what you fail to accomplish, all of that will get around to other lawyers, other business people in your community. So beyond just practicing law, if you want to get into investing in business, what you've done in the past matters. So I think irrespective of the job, the clerkship, don't ever think, well, this is my first job out of law school, second job out of law school. If this doesn't go well, obviously sometimes things don't go well. But my point is to not do what I did, which was to think, okay, yeah, this particular job isn't going great, but it doesn't really matter because it's early and I'll have time. I can find another job and be more successful at that. Just keep in mind that everything you do, even while in law school, immediately after law school and after that, will follow you. People will know the bar is smaller than the millions of lawyers that are out there.
I got plenty of mistakes, but I want to give y'all a chance to.
I mean, mine's gonna be simple. Be a good person.
Yeah.
It's simple, like Chica said, but that goes a long way. People like good people. People trust good people. People want to work with good people. People want to hire good people. Try to be a good person. Treat others the way you want to be treated. Treat people with kindness and respect. And like we said before, add value. Find ways to add value. I promise each and every one of you, 20 years from now, if you do those 4 things, be a good person, treat others like you want to be treated, find ways to add value, do good, don't do evil, you'll be successful. You just will. That's just the way of nature and the way of our world.
Yeah, I believe that. My grandfather is 100 years old, and he always says, he still has his mind, he says, live right. And it's just that simple. I think people will often say, you're the luckiest person, why you? And people don't forget how you make them feel. So my advice is going to be to focus on the people that help you and not the ones that aren't helping you. You have to remember that, because I have the opposite story where we've been friends since we were 13 and now you have a business. So just naturally you're going to call my law firm to help to get your patent, to help to get your trademark. And you can spend months dwelling on it, but we're like brothers and sisters. I thought that you were going to help me, but a total stranger who you may meet here today will say, hold my hand and take you all the way to wherever you want to go. And they invest in you and believe in you. And so spend your time focused on the people that help you and don't dwell on the people that don't, because you don't have any control over that. And that's the way I'm raising my own children. Don't worry about what other people have. Don't compare yourself. You have the mindset of being proud to know other people doing other things that may be doing better than you, and take advantage of saying to them, how did you get there? Teach me how to do it. And I think that's really good advice, because you're going to get a lot of no's in your career path as you graduate from law school, but focus on the yes. It only takes one yes. And just remember that. And your steps are ordered. So you may right now say, I'm going to launch a law firm. That's my plan. And some other opportunity is presented to you that you never in your wildest imagination could have dreamed that you would be working at Microsoft or, doing this today. But live right and keep your head focused and your eyes on the prize.
Hold up. Before you answer, I'm not going to let y'all get away with that. Y'all did the lawyer thing. I see y'all spent it. What not to do? Make it plain.
Well, what
Yeah,
not
you
to
can
do?
do it.
Don't worry about the people that have negative things to say. So I'll tell you this. What's very interesting is along my 19-career journey of having my law firm, there were a lot of people that doubted me, that actually told me, you're not going to make it. I'm going to keep your seat warm. And I often wonder why people feel comfortable talking to me like that. I'm like, I must be the sweetest person, because people will write me on social media and say, your social media is a little different from everybody else's. Why do you post so much about your business? Like, I can post what I want, So I think that, the best advice is really honestly, truly what I'm saying. Like, for a split second, it was getting to me. Why would Charlie write me and say that? Well, why wouldn't Nick help me do this? But then I had to realize, for all the people that were saying, I don't like what you post, it was somebody that messaged me that said, thank God you posted this. I need you. So, that's the best advice. Focus on your yeses and don't question your journey, because it goes fast. I'm the old lawyer in the room, believe it or not, just take care of myself. But that's why, though, because I don't stress. And I think that a lot of people, I'm going to give this other advice, that for some reasons lawyers think they're successful because they are tired. They compare themselves like, you're not working 20 hours, you're not doing this. So guess what? I set my firm up. I worked at the patent office 9 to 6. Those are my hours. So I'm very careful about how I spend my time. I may not go to coffee with you or go to lunch, because I wasn't doing that when I had a job, working for somebody else. So I feel like if somebody is going to hire me to do the work for those hours, it should be no reason for me to be giving up my weekends and working around the clock. Sometimes you have to, but I'm writing a book on it actually now, and only because now I feel comfortable talking about it, because in the beginning I always felt like I had to think about what I was saying to people. You could say something mean to me and I would say, but it's my reputation. I can't cuss him out or say, why would you ask me? And I just have to smile and say, you know what, thank you. Thank you for saying that I'm posting about this. Thank you, and just walk away. And then I had to tell my husband about it. Can you believe it? And you need that. In any kind of business, you need some kind of person that you can trust to bounce ideas off of. But I could write a whole book about this, because we are black lawyers. And for the few women here that I can count on my hands, people are going to say you have nice teeth, so that's why you got a client. You have long hair, so that's why. How about I'm just smart? Like, why can't I just be qualified for this job, And it comes with the confidence that I'm telling you, you're going to have. You're going to walk in the rooms and be just like the Obamas. You're going to be the smartest person in the room, but be afraid to go in and then realize everybody's leaning on your ideas. So just talk to me afterwards. But I have a TEDx talk, actually, that I would encourage 9 minutes, and I encourage you all to listen to it, and it's about no. Looking at no from a different perspective and removing your self-doubt. that it's not over. It could be your next opportunity or, new obstacle or something. So I want you all to take a look at it because you need to be motivated and believe in yourself. That's going to be half the battle, whether you work in-house. I'm sure he can tell you about some meetings where he pitched the idea and they didn't give him any credit and told him it was bad. And the next meeting, it was the best idea.
That's most meetings.
Yeah. I can write the book for every lawyer in this room, and especially being a woman, people throwing papers at you. It's going to happen. It's just what you're willing to deal with and how you react. So that's how I'm going to tell that answer. Like, focus on the things that are moving in your direction and not dwelling on why it's not happening. That's a mic drop, because I'm telling you.
After the sermon, that remind me of the question.
He has to follow up to me. So.
But what advice would you give people? Tell them what not to do in their journey in their career, entrepreneurship.
Mistakes.
Yes.
Don't be quick to jump into marriage. You may have a great friend.
Like literal marriage.
We gonna lay him on the couch.
This is business.
Okay,
I'm using the same metaphor.
Okay.
For my law school classmates, they know my wife went to law school with us, was number one in the class. Like, I got a solid, she handled everything because I would forget my head if it wasn't on my shoulders.
Good.
But one of the mistakes I made, remember I told y'all about this $1 billion idea that we had. It ended in a divorce because everybody doesn't have the same work ethic as you. Mm-hmm. And this is going to apply across all your relationships. And it took me a while to comprehend, man, why are you just so frustrated with humanity and people? And it's because I hold myself to a certain standard. There's no excuses. At Howard, we learned there was no excuses. They talk about getting it out the mud. Like, I could tell y'all some stories about Mississippi dirt and all of that stuff, like literally getting it out the mud. When you got to come from nothing to something, you can't make excuses. And so it took a while. I would be frustrated with people because they wouldn't, you treat people the way you want to be treated. So everything Nick said, like, I'm good people's. It's a testament out there. Like, I don't have to go around and say I'm good people.
Yes.
The Bible say you could tell a tree by the fruit it bear. Like, the fruit is out there. I don't have to speak. You get frustrated when you start to expect you from other people. And it took me a while to realize this is why you always frustrated, because you expect better of people, of human beings. And that's because you expecting what you would do if you was in that situation. Everybody ain't us. I can go and tell, if I go to Checkers or it don't matter where I go. It could be Golden Corral. I'm trying to be humble. I ain't been to these spots in a while. So let me not front. But you could tell somebody who's not going to be there long. And I make it a point to let them know, oh, you ain't going to be here long. You doing what you need to do to the best of your ability. Like, I've been a bagger, I've worked at McDonald's and all of these other places. Any humble job that you could think of, I've had. But I always had the mindset and the philosophy, whatever you do it as if you're doing it unto God. So you do your best. Everybody ain't got that mentality. And so rewinding and not trying to be too verbose, don't jump into marriage quick. You need to observe and watch a person's work ethic. We got a great idea. We knew it was. I stood up. I think I had to give the speech or something because I was some position. But I told the whole graduating class, we got a $1 billion idea. This was 2008. Recognize this now 2026, and now these meta glasses is what's hot. And society is ready for it. But back then, it was, you coming alongside me. Be careful who you bring alongside you, because everybody is not you, and everybody does not have your work ethic. Mm-hmm. So that's
good advice.
That's one mistake. I think I laid it out there because it led to a divorce because I didn't, on the front end, be careful and understand, okay, everybody doesn't have the same work ethic. Another one kind of tied to that, I can't say my slogan online, but just know people gon' people if you let them. And what that means is you don't want to be in a position where you are dependent on somebody else for your livelihood. I try to make sure that it's just me. I'm always dependent. Let me make that disclaimer because my dependency is on him. But I don't want to have to depend on none of y'all. If it comes to feed my family or keeping my job, I don't want to put myself in a position where I'm dependent on a person. And you ask about mistakes. I've been in situations where I'm dependent on you to put in a good word for me or say that was his idea. You're in the room. But you may be so political and so all kinfolk ain't kinfolk.
That one.
Everybody ain't for you, and so you learn these things as you grow up in your career. These is kind of unwritten rules, but we come back and give them to y'all straight with no chaser. So you don't want to be, that's lesson number 2 or mistake number 2. Don't be in a situation where you have to necessarily depend on people. You're going to always have to depend on people, but understand what I'm saying, read between the lines where it's critical. I actually have to depend on you. That's the marriage, divorce, that's the people. What other mistakes you want me
Charlie,
to expose?
We're laughing, but he brings up a good point. We're saying it's a metaphor, but it's true. Your spouse, your friends, that's a lesson.
Association.
Because if you're not with the right person or have the right friend group, they'll hold you back.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I went home to my husband and said, hey, this guy said that I could come work for free and they pay me or whatever, but I want to start a law firm. What do you think? And I look back at that and he said, well, if you think you can do it, go for it. And I just look back at that and I'm thinking, what if I would have had the kind of husband that would have said the same thing that other people were saying? I'm going to keep your seat warm. Are you crazy?
We need some insurance.
Well,
Go
we have
work for somebody.
Right, we have a 2-year-old daughter, and I just think about that. So it's real important to choose wisely, even your friends, right? Because it's something to be said about when you're not in the room that people are thinking about you and talking about you. So, and a mistake is when you put too much into it, and choose the wrong person. That'd be a mistake that you can overlook. So just remember all of this. Right now, somebody has a bad boyfriend or a friend that's been their friends because they were 5 or something that's weighing them down. But when you look back at life, just looking back, you'll remember this day and say, it's hard. It's like a breakup for anything. Friends, spouse, business.
Any questions?
Hi, everybody.
Oh,
I'm so sorry.
Oh, he has a mic.
I'll jump in really quick.
I think I
He has
wait
a
for the
mic.
mic.
Oh,
For the mic.
perfect. Thank you so much. My name is Tiana Briscoe. I'm a 4th year at Perkins Coie. Graduated from Hustle in 22. Everybody spoke about people reaching out to them constantly, and I experienced that as well. And I know there's a lot of law students in the room and some people that are probably still looking for jobs and opportunities. There was also some statistics earlier this morning about how the opportunities for recent graduates are declining a little bit. I know that my firm actually hasn't had a summer program in the last 2 years. And so I always will still take like a lunch and coffee with law school students, and I'm always happy to talk to them. But I'm wondering if there's something that you can tell me that I can then share with them, or maybe there might even be law students in the room that you might actually be speaking to about what they can and should be doing in terms of looking for their postgraduate opportunities, and really like how to navigate and just make themselves, the best possible candidate for whatever it is that they're looking to go into. Because I'm just constantly hearing from law students who are, really concerned about just getting a job and are almost at a point of like, I will take any opportunity and do anything. And it just seems like there's a lot of closed doors, and I know that the lateral situation is much stronger. It seems like people want people already coming with experience, and I can appreciate that as well. But I want to know kind of what I should be sharing with some of these students or what they might need to hear.
Add value. Learn how to create value. Learn how to add value. I think we have been we've become dependent on society, and we're going to see a uptick in more entrepreneurship simply because I really truly believe this. Black women run the world, and they've let go of the most talented part of our workforce. These women that were at these great, well, not great, but at these corporations and at these law firms, and it is treacherous, y'all.
Yeah.
The way they losing their jobs, like it's like it has nothing to do with performance or merit.
It's a war on
Politically,
black women.
you know, politically, we've always had to try to navigate and consider others' feelings, because when you're incompetent, intelligent person makes you feel insecure immediately, and so then you want to start going after them some way. There is a large part of our workforce out there that is trying to figure it out. I do believe they're going to figure it out because there's no choice. That is what I would encourage law students as well. You are putting a lot of time into trying to find a job. What is it that you are good at? How can you produce? And then how can AI help me? And then you know what? Those places may come after you. I know society makes us think, oh, I put in these many years and I went to law school, so I have to be a lawyer. But if you're going to be miserable, I know this, I probably say this every year, it's hard telling broke folks that money ain't everything. It's real easy for you to sit up with a whole bunch of money and say money ain't everything. But trust me, money won't bring you peace or happiness. You have to decide, what is it that you want to do with your life? If you really want this a job and you really want to be an attorney, then find someone to represent. The large law firm, and I know Perkins Coie, you guys, I didn't know y'all didn't have a summer program for 2 years, but you all are a real firm. Again, for those in the room who may not know, Perkins Coie is one of those firms that actually pushed back against Trump, which was a very big risk. Now the most of those other firms just kind of capitulated and like, okay, yeah, we're done with DEI. Perkins Coie walked it like they talk it, which is why they are here. I want to make sure they get they flowers and a shout out. But when those students come, I would give them that advice, and I give that advice to my students and those that are or attorneys who reach out to me, and to those attorneys that are or students that are seeking to go to law school. I'm like, if your objective is to get a job, go to Howard, because people at Howard think like me. And when we get in the door, we kicking it open. Not all of us will do that. Some of us are very high and are scared to hire a minority because we care about what the other people think. I'm gonna stop there because I
Yeah,
get to preaching.
I'll just add one thing, which is sort of more practical on what you should be telling law students when they approach you. You know, I think one thing is, you know, and I think I can speak for my esteemed panelists here when I say that, like, people want to help people that they have a connection with. So when you are researching or mining the web or LinkedIn, if you find someone that went to your undergrad, if the high school's at high school, went to your law school, reach out to those people, because I get approaches, or I get approached by all sorts of people. But I will tell you, when a Howard law grad approaches me, I put in more because I went to Howard, right? So there is this natural instinct to advocate more aggressively for people that you have something in common. Maybe that's your undergrad, maybe that's what state you were born in, it's your law school. I would say that have that be part of your process when you're reaching out to people. The other thing I will say is this, I found, I mean, this happened to me just last week, and I found it very, very useful. A non-Howard grad who I don't know reached out. She wants to do health law. I've been doing health law for 13 years. So we got on the phone, we've spoken a number of times. I have a colleague that's a GC at a mental health provider company. He's trying to hire an associate GC. So I said, okay, I will connect you with this guy. And because she recognized that, you know, we've spoken, she sent me her resume, and so I can obviously forward the resume, but she sent me an email and literally gave me bullet points. She's like, when you talk to your friend, here are some accomplishments that I've had that you can highlight in that conversation. So it made my conversation with him, one, it gave you parents that she and I are closer than we are. I've spoken to her twice. But she's a bright young woman. She's, like everyone else, having a hard time finding a job. But she gave me a one-page, itemized, bulleted document to use in having conversations with people about her. And that was huge. And so now I connected her with him, and he's going to interview her this week or next week. And so I think try to connect with people that there's some commonality, and make the job of that person that you are asking to help you as easy as you can.
And that was my story, actually, of how I got my big summer associate job in law school. Exactly what he did. I looked up all GW law alum, looked up IP firms. Now you have AI. You know, this is before, like, I was doing it on my own, so I can just put a prompt in, give me all the Howard alum that work in DC at IP law firms. And I sent an email to somebody I didn't know and made it relatable. You know, I'm at GW, you went there, you know about our reputation, and I wrote it with thinking in mind that he would forward it. And he took the bait. I said, I applied for the such and such position. You know, I'd love, you already know who I am, we're from the same school. And he forwarded it. And I got a call, and they said, oh, well, Bob forwarded the email, so he must know you. Oh, you're not going to say no once we're in the room. Because that's half the battle, right?
Yeah.
You get a lot of no's, you don't even get an interview.
Yeah.
But like I said, if you have that confidence and you know how to talk and you can get your point across, it's a done deal after that. So I would just recommend that this is AI, you know, this is the AI era. Start thinking about non-traditional ways, like and block it off on your calendar. You know, today I'm going to look these people up, and then I'm going to spend 1 hour just connecting on LinkedIn first. Then, you know, after that, I'm going to write my letter and say, not only did we go to Spelman together, but we're friends on LinkedIn. You know, now it's making me think, do I know this person for real? Or, I mean, but that's how it is, and I think that will really set you far and set you apart to have somebody already there doing it for you, doing the heavy lifting.
Yeah, I mean, I will say real quick, the problem is people don't know how to network.
That's the key.
That's really the problem. And I teach a technology law course here at Howard, and I get that from my students all the time. I'll give you an example. Student was like, Professor Austin, I want to be in sports law and entertainment. Do you know anybody? All right. I asked, well, what have you done in that field? Have you met any other sports and law entertainments at BSLA? BSLA conferences every year. I mean, they're always in some nice exotic places, Cancun, Puerto Rico. They do what they do, they go where they go. But I'm like, so you're telling me you want to be in sports and entertainment law, you haven't reached out to any sports and entertainment lawyers from internship, you haven't found a way to get to BSLA, whether by hook and crook, you know, Spirit flies there, Frontier flies there. You can get 5 of your friends together and get a room and split it to be in the mix and have organic conversations. Or you want to be in energy law and you haven't walked down to FERC and gone to their happy hours and their things that they're having, you know. And so my thing is, people just want to send an email or hit you up and say, hey, give me a job, but they haven't done the real networking work to get the job. People hire their friends and their friends of friends. Whether you like it or not, that's just the way America works. And so you got to find your way to get in spaces that those people are going to be there. And like our panelists have said, get to know them, find the commonalities, go to lunch, go to coffee. So I would definitely encourage you to tell law students coming up to you those same thing. Get in the rooms of influence. Get to know those people. Make yourself known in those rooms, and the job will find you. It always does.
And if they hustlers, give them my name on LinkedIn. Only if they hustlers. If they not like Howard Law.
Okay.
Brother man had a question back there. I think he was first. Let him go because he got cut off the first time. He was on time.
The question that I have for all of you is what are some of the biggest mistakes that you see 3Ls make as they're now looking or going into junior associate roles? Like, what are some of the skills they're lacking? What are some of the things they're not doing? You know, what are just generally the mistakes that they make that we now as 1Ls, 2Ls, 3Ls can now take and grow from?
I think because we're not at law firms, it's different. You may have a perspective, but I know when we were coming up, career services told you, and I'd be interested in the audience, career services told you be open to whatever. I've always been opposed to that. If you know what you want to do, tell people, hey, this is what I want to do. And I'd like to meet people who are in this area or start learning yourself, practicing, because the law of attraction is going to bring that to you. But I don't know I can't say any mistakes because I'm not really engaging with too many free. Come on, Ray. Go ahead.
So one for me would kind of go back to what I said earlier, that somebody has been in law school for 3 years, only done personal injury, never taken any IP classes, but now I want to have a call with you and I want to be an IP lawyer. So then I Google you, you have no articles written about it, haven't taken any classes, and haven't positioned yourself or put yourself out there. You haven't joined the organizations, you're not a member. So immediately to me, then they say, well, I'll just take anything, to his point. And I'm like, you have totally wasted my time, so that to me is a huge mistake, that you haven't branded yourself and positioned yourself and done your homework before you actually take the initiative to reach out and ask for a job. Because now it's interesting, now we all know people that know people or somebody that's hiring, so it's not hard to help somebody, but I don't want you to waste somebody else's time. And, I want you to have that hustle mentality, like you want it, like tell me why you want it, and your resume should show that you've done the work in advance to prove that you're not just calling every law firm in the phone book.
What's that? The young man, right?
Oh, the woman in the back with the glasses.
For the students in the audience, most bar associations have free student memberships, and you'll be surprised at how many students don't take advantage of that. Because as soon as you graduate, them things go up to like $150 or like, $175 depending on the bar association. So while you're a student, take advantage of the free bar associations that you can join.
And National Bar. National Bar has different committees.
And then Maddie, you'll be our last one.
As Nick was saying, networking, being a good person. So let's say you met me and you weren't nice to me. That means I'm gonna tell Lauren, I'm gonna tell DeTravius, I'm gonna tell Charlie, I'm gonna tell Shawan, I'm gonna tell Professor Mtima. So now, who are you now? Now your reputation is in the mud, and it's because you thought I was disposable. You thought that I wasn't someone that you needed to get something from, or I couldn't serve you. So it's really about being a good person and having, my resume is good because I've been a good person for 20 years. So people will call me to do things. They'll say, hey, let me call Cosby. So that is your legacy, and that's better than your resume or wherever you've worked, is who you are as a person.
Yeah, I can't echo that enough. Like, do not show your ass to your classmates.
Do not.
Like, please don't show your ass to your classmates. Because one, it gets back to the alumni so quick. The Howard Network, like, the hustle news is real. It is the Negro news, and it is out there, right? So, like, we hear about it, and we like, they said, what? Don't show your ass to your classmates. The other comment that I will make is, I'm not necessarily the most outgoing person. So I think hustle can look different for people who tend to be more introverted. And so for me, my recommendation to every 3L is, you're already broke, stay broke. Find the experience, because nobody can take that from you. So I know I'm so smart. So let me figure out how to demonstrate that. And I like to let my work speak for itself, and that is its own form of networking. I have never gotten a job that somebody didn't come to me with. And that speaks volumes, right? Yeah. So let your work speak for yourself. Not everybody is Charlie out here starting all the summits and doing all the things, right? But I can call Charlie any day, and he can call me any day. And even though our hustle looks totally different, game recognized game, right? So let your work speak for yourself, even if you don't necessarily have the skills to speak as strongly as other of your classmates might.
Let me say this before we go to Maddie for the last question. I want us to change our mentality. If you're a 3L, you looking for a position, this goes to what she's saying. And I'm gonna combine a little bit of yours. You have ChatGPT. When you see an issue that everybody else is just consuming on social media, Instagram, it could be a fight between Cardi B and Nicki Minaj about who said what in a song or who owns that. You can go and it's the practice of law. What are the legal issues associated with this, ChatGPT? Could you write me a newsletter on this, an opinion piece? When this last thing that happened to the People for Sinners with the guy with Tourette's, and the legal issues associated with, wait, you took out Free Palestine, but you left in him calling these two brothers the N-words. Are there legal issues there? We want to see people taking initiative. In this economy, just having a degree is not going to get you there. You got to have that extra oomph. I got my job at Microsoft. Years later, I learned, because during my interview process, I told them, and it could have been a mistake, but it is what's for you is for you. During that time, they were considering requiring having the internet to be able to play the Xbox. Now we know you need that all the time. But Sony had mocked them. And I during the interview, I told them, I was like, man, do you know how many poor people sit around with no job, unemployed, playing Madden all day, who don't have the internet? I could have told y'all that was a dumb idea to require that. And they lost a generation of players who are like, no Xbox. We PlayStation people around here, PS5. In Seattle and all over there by Microsoft, it's more Microsoft. But during that time, it was like, we need that. That type of perspective is different. And I got the job not just because of that, but that was something that kind of distinguished me from somebody else. So to your point, you ain't just helpless. Get out here and show, hey, I can add value in one way or another. And it's easy for y'all because you got ChatGPT.
It might more just to add something because I've been in that spot. If you want to mine the data from LinkedIn to target your contacts, did you know there's a Claude Code add-in now for Chrome that will scrub LinkedIn and you tell it exactly the target companies you want to work for and who you've got something in common with? You can have it go do that work for you. It's not a couple hours on LinkedIn now, it's a couple minutes. It's great. But an email is not networking. An email is to get in and talk to them. And if you, the best thing I always tell recent college graduates and recent law school graduates for networking, find something to connect with the person you're talking to, even if it's like you'd never call them again because you just did not click. Find something that you connected with and say, I'm really interested in this. Who else can I talk to about this? Because maybe you'll really click with the next person. And if you're more of an introvert and you want to let your work speak for yourself, start a Substack. Everybody's got a Substack now. I'm kind of tired of reading Substacks. But you can put stuff out there, and then when you follow up with those people you networked with, say, hey, I had a great time talking to you about X. I wrote an article on it. Here's some work. See what I do. But those are some good tips to just keep that network going and find the right people until you find somebody who really clicks. And then, as you said, sir, friends hire friends. But you don't make friends with a robot. So write it yourself. Have it in your voice. You can use ChatGPT and these tools to help you outline it and figure out how to structure it. Or my favorite, I didn't have time to write you a short letter, so I wrote you a long one. Make it short. These people are very busy. If it doesn't fit in the preview pane, they're not going to read it. So use ChatGPT to help you shorten things. But go out there and make the connections.
Okay, that's our time. I want y'all to give it up for our panel. Nick, Susan, Andrea, and my two brother Lindsay, Charlie Bingham. I think Charlie Bingham got some closing words because this is actually the last panel. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank y'all for give our panelists one more round of applause. This is the fun part, but thank you all for staying, remaining. Like, this is where, when we talk about networking, now that we're ending, this is where you have an opportunity that many people don't have. Make sure you take advantage of it. And as Andrea said, be purposeful. You know, I went to Howard Law, so don't ask me what school I went to. But we want to take this time again to thank our sponsors, Perkins Coie, Wilmer Hale, Reed Smith, FBT Gibbons, Greenberg, Davis Wright Tremaine, Marty Donovan, Latif Mtima, and the Institute of Intellectual Property and Social Justice, and Professor Roy L. Austin Jr. of the Howard Law AI Initiative. This was our first year doing this with them. We've been dancing with Latif for quite some time. It's a little bit smoother now, but we want to thank our sponsors. We want to thank all of you who have joined us online. We will share out the PowerPoints. We know we had some technical difficulties. It seems like we have technical difficulties every year. And I tell everybody, you have to get comfortable being uncomfortable, because when you get in-house, some of these positions that you find yourself in, you're going to be stuck between a rock and a hard place. The business wants this. Your judgment says this is not right, or we probably shouldn't be doing this. But there's that one executive who will throw you under the bus, who you really can't buck against. And so you have to cover yourself with receipts. You're going to find yourself uncomfortable. I haven't been in a law firm for a while, but I remember that was uncomfortable. You're going to have to work with some uncomfortable people who really don't like you. It makes me think of Shadur Sanders. They didn't want to draft you. And they'll let you know, I ain't want to draft you. But this one person over here wanted to draft you. This is my golden boy over here, my Dylan Gabriel. That's who I want. Skinner's giving me the look. Wrap it up. Okay. Thank you for joining us. We're going to have the PowerPoints. And for those people who are online, please reach out to the panelists, myself included. I usually try to take a vacation after this because it'd be a lot. But I will get back to all of your LinkedIn requests. If there's any way that we can assist you in your career, we want to do that for those online and those of you who are here. So take this time. Thank you all. And Cam, that could be a wrap. We'll see you next year. Thank you.